It's Honeysuckle and Rachel Blackmore, Racing's golden duo!
Tiger Roll joins the greats and beats Magic of Light.
Best behaviour on the near side with the wettest of saves for Barry Brown and Oliver McKiernan. Local trainer Derek comes in again and beyond his test. Lord Lyon wins it from...
It's Samco on the stand side before he had the second round. Fahey lands in the lead by half a length and goes on from Samco.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of We're Going Chasing. We're going to review the Dublin Racing Festival, and my God, what racing it was. 8 Grade 1s, the whole landscape now for Cheltenham has changed, certainly in a lot of the divisions anyway. And what a weekend's racing it was too, Killian. You were there both days, I was there today. How did you get on?
Yeah, geez, James, I'd say your internet's a small bit dodgy there. It's sort of out of sync a bit, but look, we'll stay going. You're on the hotspot.
Yeah, on the hotspot. Yeah, we're out of the Virgin Media Wi-Fi. It's run out. We need to get set up on Sky, so we're working off the hotspot. So the mouth is probably a bit out of sync with the voice, but look, we'll be okay. We'll stay going.
Fair enough. Look, if you backed a few winners, you might have to price the Wi-Fi a bit sooner. But sure, look, this is about it. Yeah, unbelievable weekend. Savage, like. As you said, 8 Grade 1s there and 4 in a row there. The first 4 races of Saturday, like, really gets you into it. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. There was a lot of shocks. And I suppose there was a lot of other horses that put up their hand for big races in Cheltenham. And I think we were saying just off air there, like, going forward, like we're what, 4.5, 5 weeks out. So like we all year we've sort of gone with, look, if we'll go through all the race, and it didn't make a difference if it made any odds to Cheltenham. But this sort of time of year now, I think we're a bit more Cheltenham focused. We'll be releasing a video on the novice hurdle divisions later on the week. So I think it's if they're not going to Cheltenham, or if it doesn't have any Cheltenham ramifications, we're probably not going to talk about it at this stage. Yeah,
that's very fair. That makes perfect sense at this stage of the year. Now is the time certainly to be Cheltenham focused. I suppose the one thing to say about the Dublin Racing Festival too, the attendances, everybody's talking about it. It was up about 40% on the previous year. 25% of the crowd there were English. Judging by Twitter, they all seem to get on very well over there. They're comparing it to Cheltenham, and that just the quality of the racing and the price comparison too. They seem to find Dublin much cheaper than Cheltenham, even for a pint of Guinness, £1.50 the difference, actually more, probably €2, because it's £7.50 over there in Cheltenham, and it was €6 in Dublin. I think there was a few people saying about queues for the bars and the toilets, and that, was there?
Yeah, like the queues for the toilets were fairly bad. All right, there was like the one there underneath the main stand, like that was at least 100 deep there at stages,
Yeah.
For the lads' jacks, so they probably could have done with a bit more toilet facilities around the place.
But the thing is, I'd say with that toilet is that's the one that everybody knows and everybody goes to. If there's other toilets around Cheltenham, around the parade ring at the far side and that, and they were actually very quiet. It was just, I think it was mainly that particular toilet. Again, I think Rory Fitzgerald had a picture up again of the bar, so people were saying there was long queues at the bar. There was a bar outside that had literally, he took a photo of it between 2 races. There wasn't one person standing at it. Again, it's probably just people all flocking to the main areas, which is fair enough. But if you do walk 2 or 3 minutes, you'll probably get served a lot quicker. But anyway, look, it was a great weekend. And the final thing to say, I suppose, is the ground. Leopardstown seemed to have the ground fully sorted. Christmas, no issues. Dublin Racing Festival, no issues. And that's vital, really. Even going forward, that's the one thing they can't slip, because we've seen what happens before when you've horses pulling out because of the good ground, and it just ruins the racing.
Yeah, for definite. And I will say one thing though, I suppose we did get a very wet winter. A lad said to me last September that we're in for a very wet winter, and he was right. Like, he noticed the hurling field softening up a bit, and he said we're in for a very wet winter, and he was right. We did get it, and that has helped Leopardstown as well. So hopefully global warming stays away and we don't get any drier ones.
Yeah, that's the most important reason for global warming staying away.
Correct.
The
yes.
ground at Leopardstown. Right, look, Killian, we'll get into it. Day one, as the lads on Let's Talk Racing say, good land for the good people. That's become synonymous with them, you know, and he was very impressive.
He was very impressive, and that line is caught on so much that Michael O'Sullivan had it up on Twitter, on Instagram yesterday. He was very impressive. Geez, he's a fair detail of a horse. Like he's won there very, very easily. Like that's 2 mile 6. He's going to go back a furlong for the Ballymore. Geez, I wouldn't like to take him on now for that. Like I thought it was a devastating enough performance. He was in the front seat all the way, nearly like he was just in beside the English horse, like who we all thought probably went too fast, but maybe he didn't. Maybe he's just no good, which could be the case. But Good Land is definitely a serious animal, and he's a short enough price there for the Ballymore. But if you listen to Barry Connell there on Nick Look on Sunday there, he said he's going to win the Ballymore. And so he's already won the Supreme. He said he's going to win the Supreme after he won the Royal Bond. So he's now a stranglehold on the first 2 novice hurdles at Cheltenham.
Yeah, he does. But it's great to see. It's great to see a different face up there too. You know, like I'd love to see him go and win both. Go and do the double. It'd just be great. Just to change of face there. You know. And I suppose in second, then you had Absolute Notions. He was rated 131 before the race. I think he got £7 for it. He's up to about 138. Where would you see him going?
Well, he took a serious step forward from his previous run in Naas. Like I think that day in Naas, like he was 4 lengths behind, 5 lengths behind in the pocket, and 3-card brag. You know, I think taking out those hurdles probably didn't suit. That was softer ground. Probably a better ground horse, is he? Like
he is, yeah.
If you sort of look at him and Deep Cave, he beat Deep Cave in a maiden hurdle in Punchestown. Like he beat him by 3 lengths that day. He's beaten him by 3 lengths again. So those two are closely matched on form. Like that form of that maiden is stacked up here again. Like, yeah, I'd imagine 138. Be looking at a Martin Pipe, wouldn't you? He'd have to run once more.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, you
like
would.
In previous years, you wouldn't
go to a Ballymore or that, or you'd be sticking with the handicaps. Would you off that mark?
Yeah, I wouldn't go to the Ballymore. I'd go to the Bartlett over the Ballymore.
Yeah.
I think he's of 138 plus whatever English handicapper gave him. In previous years, you just say from now he wouldn't run again, but he'd have to run again. So if you see him entered again, he's probably going to go to the Martin Pipe. If not, I'd say he'd go to the Bartlett, wouldn't he? I know the owners already have Hidden Valley Lake in the Bartlett. He's the current favourite for that. So maybe they'd split them up. I don't know.
He'd have to run once more, wouldn't he, for to get into the Martin Pipe. And you could nearly see a horse like him being given a fair hike there of the English handicapper. If he's up to 138 now, he wouldn't want to go too much higher, or like he could easily get 6 or 7. You know, he could get 7. You know, so if he went up another 1 or 2, that'd be the most you'd want to see him going up.
Yeah.
If you were thinking about him for the Martin Pipe, or he could get handicapped out of it. That brings us on then to our juvenile hurdle. I had a man say to me before the race actually that he reckoned Galopin Des Champs would be the best of Willie's juvenile hurdlers, and you know, he beat Lassie out. But you know, he very well could be right. She was very impressive. You've got Blood Destiny there as well, just keeping an eye towards Cheltenham. Willie's got an unbelievable hand for it. You know, I'd still be with Lassie Mouth. To be honest, you know, she didn't get to run of the race at all. She did very well to finish where she did. At the same time, in saying that, you'd say by looking at it that Galopin Des Champs had more left in the tank too at the finish. So it's a very tough one, and it'll be interesting to see what Paul does next time round. But I think he's actually said that Lassie Mouth is the better of the two, so he'll be sticking with her, and I'd fancy him to be right on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I was saying, and when we did this with Paddy Aspel last Friday, preview of this, I thought Galopin Des Champs would be a good bit closer than she was at Christmas, without beating her. She's obviously taken a fair step forward, Garla Marceau. Like she still raced so keen for a long way of the race. Like it makes what she did even more impressive, I think. Like I know Willie said afterwards he wasn't too happy, complimentary of the ride. Paul gave Lossiemouth that like he was fairly hard on her from the back of the third last to get back into the position, and when it looked like she couldn't win. Now even coming to the last, you sort of thought if she jumped it really well and landed running, she'd have a chance of winning. But yeah, it's a very tough race for her. Like I was against her for the Triumph Hurdle anyway. So like I think Blood Destiny is the one still. Don't know what the plan is with him. Is he going to run again? Or not before the Triumph, but I'd be backing him for a Triumph at the moment. I just don't like Phillies don't have a great record in the race. A lot of them try it, and like between her and Galopin Des Champs, I think Galopin Des Champs could, if she races that keen in Cheltenham again, I don't know would she be able to come up the hill.
Yeah, and just the prices on it, I suppose, between the three of them, God Willie's the first three in the market, all right, but Lossiemouth 13-8, Blood Destiny 11-4, Galopin Des Champs 4-1, and Comfort Zone, who I see was put up by Tom Siegel today, 8-1, about Comfort Zone, who bet script writer at Cheltenham last time out. Out of those mentioned, you're going Blood Destiny. I reckon Lossiemouth long term 5 weeks, she'll be coming home in front. That brings us on to the Irish Arkle then, and again, talk about a division being totally shook up. You know, El Fabiolo was probably seen as the third choice by most people from Willie's yard for the Arkle at Cheltenham, and he's fairly put his hand up, as you said at the start of the podcast. Banbridge was second, Appreciated, Disappointing in third, and Dysart Dynamo in fourth. Like you wouldn't want to be sitting on a Dysart Dynamo slip.
Yeah, he's the one. Well, him and Appreciated. I don't think he'd want to sit on any of those slips. I'd be 99% sure Appreciated go up on trip now to the Turners. And Paul will pull rank and put Paul up on El Fabiolo, I'd say. He'll be the Arkle horse. Dysart Dynamo running the Arkle because you couldn't step him up on trip the way he runs. So they'll be your two Arkle horses. A Flame Bearer probably stay at home. I don't see the point unless you go to a handicap. San Roy, yeah, he was. You don't know where he would have came in it. Like it's a bit of a sickener that he came down. Like I suppose looking at where Field Door and Visionarian were, like you'd imagine San Roy is going to be well out of the pecking order there as well. Like, but he was being held up and he would have been ridden to place. So I would have liked to see him finish. Like he could be one for one of the handicaps in Cheltenham there as well. Like he's 1-5-2. Yeah, maybe not. But yeah, El Fabiolo is definitely the main threat to John Bond. Like you're looking at that race, you'd see it as nearly a 2-horse race at this stage. Like if you give me 11-8 versus 2-1, I'd probably side with John Bond. I think he's achieved more. But I think like you can mark up
I'd be in the El Fabiolo camp.
Yeah, you can probably mark him up too. He made a bad mistake, the fourth last, I think, or the fifth last. So you can probably mark him up a small bit. It looks a match at this stage.
His jumping was a small bit hairy at times, and again it was a small bit hairy on debut as well. That's probably the biggest difference between himself and Jamban. Jamban obviously bet him too, but what a race they had at Aintree last year over hurdles. But I don't know. El Fabiolo impressed me the way that he quickened there after last and just stayed on very strongly. He's got a fair engine underneath him, and I'd say he's a better horse than he was there last year. Banbridge is the final one then to talk about. I put him up for the Arkle on this back towards the start of the year, and I definitely, if he was my horse, I'd still be running him in the Arkle. I know he ran on as if like a step up in trip would suit him, but he's got the 2 mile form at Cheltenham this year. He's been second in that Grade 1, which is the the best Grade 1 2 mile novice chase we've had this year. He's been second in that, so he's in the top 2 or 3 novice chasers over 2 miles. And I just think an undulating track like Cheltenham at a stiffer 2 miles, will only play to his strengths, and I could certainly see him mapping. He'll be stepped up to the marsh, and I wouldn't be keen on him for it.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you there. Like, I don't think he can win either race. I don't think he's going to reverse form with El Fabiolo, and I don't think he'd beat Mighty Potter. So, like, that's where you are, and then you're sort of looking at which race would he have a better chance of coming home and placing in. And I'd probably say the Arkle as well. Like, you see, Appreciated now will step up and trip. I think Appreciated up and trip is going to beat Banbridge. I think Sir Gerhard will probably end up in the Turners as well. I know Willie's saying the Brown Advisory, but I don't believe him. I'd say he'll end up in the Turners. Then you have, like, in the Arkle, outside of the top 2, you'd fancy Banbridge to come home ahead of everything else if he was ridden to do so, and you never know. They're coming out, like Gavin Echo was second in the Arkle last year. He was in front of Blue Lord. Like, Gavin Echo wasn't the caliber of Blue Lord, so it can be done, but that's what I do as well. But it looks like he will go to the marsh now anyway.
Yeah, and then onto the Irish Gold Cup. Galopin Des Champs, very impressive. Beat Stackler by about 7 or 8 lengths. What he did after the last was good, and he hit the line running. But it's going back to that stat for me that I mentioned on this podcast last week. Only one winner of the Irish Gold Cup has won the Cheltenham Gold Cup. And that's not just even confining it to that in the same year. That's in any year. And you just need a different horse over 3 miles at Leopardstown than you do over the Gold Cup trip at an undulating track like Cheltenham. And I just think he's too flashy. I think he's too classy nearly to win a Gold Cup. Like, he's a Ryanair type in my book. And I think Statler will turn that form around. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah, he's very short price for the Gold Cup, and like, I wouldn't like to be betting on him now at that price, like 13-8, 6-4, like there. It could be a fairly strong race. Like, you have Noble Yates, they put the cheek pieces back on him. Plutard is coming back after he's had a bad run, but you'd hope he's back to somewhat of his best. Brave Man's Game is the King George winner. You have to respect him. Conflated, respect the Savills winner going in too. Like, Manella Indo coming back. Like, it could be a strong enough renewal. Like, and I don't know. Like, I wouldn't be backing him at a short price like that. I thought he was very impressive though. He's a horse that, like, I've given out about him at times. Like, I think he, like, but yeah, I didn't think he jumped that well. He was kept on the inside rail, and I thought he was just sort of getting from A to B, and Paul switched him out to get a bit more headlight, and it livened him up a small bit. And like, turned in then, and just like once he got going, he just scooted away from Fury Road. I know Fury Road made a bad mistake at the last. Like, Fury Road probably would have been a bit closer. He'd have been second. But like, beating Fury Road 8 lengths, it's pretty good form. Like, still, like, looking back at Christmas, Conflated beat him 6 lengths. This is beating him almost 9. So, like, and he wasn't fully extended either. So, like, I think there is a bit more to come from him. Suppose the question is, like, those last 2 furlongs in the Gold Cup is where it's won. And I just think maybe some proven stayers, the likes of Stackler, Noble Yates, Manella Indo, Plutard, that have shown that they stay that trip, might catch them. I don't know. As one thing's for sure anyway, jump in the last, Manella Indo is going to be in front. So whoever passes him will win it, is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. If Galopin Des Champs is going to win, he's going to win by 8 or 9 lengths. I don't see him winning it like Manella Indo won it a couple of years ago. It'll be in a Plutard type performance.
Yeah, they went very slow last year though.
I don't see him. They did, yeah, and they'll have
yes.
to again. I think it'll have to be something like that.
Yeah, you'd be
I
hoping.
don't see him winning a pure battle, like Menelindo one, for example.
Yeah, you'd be hoping that there's a nice bit of pace in it. Anyway, I'd be on Menelindo. I have been all year, like so. I think he's still probably overpriced at 20 or 25 to 1. Like,
he won't win either. Right, onto the handicap. So we'll start briefly with the 3 mile grade B handicap hurdle. Persevia Legolas had an awful lot in hand, I'd say, as did Grozny, and the JP horse just had that bit more. Poor Blue Sari burst. I fancied him for the race, but he's burst again, and it's not the first time he's burst. So I'd say he wouldn't be one now. I'd be going here again anyway, to be honest. But and then you the handicap chase as well. Final orders just keeps on winning for Gavin Cromwell. That's 5 wins now in 6 starts. He's after getting £9 for it. He was 140 rated. He's now 149 rated. He won by 4 lengths. He could very easily go in again. He won very snugly. He's only rated 102 over hurdles then, which fairly stands off the page. But I suppose he's just so suited to fences, it would seem. Another big improver like Darver Star or Florin Porter possibly for Gavin Cromwell there.
Yeah. So I just going back to the handicap hurdle there. The horse actually came third. I was watching the races back, like, geez, he got a very, very soft ride. Like he's came home hands and heels, wasn't touched at all. For Emmett Mullins, Connor Clark taking 7 off, so he was racing off 9 stone, effectively. So like, Jesus, he was. I thought, like, I don't know. I'd say that there's another day in him. Like the first 2 were well clear, really. Like, but and Grozny could go in. Like he's got £4. The winner got 10, and the Hardy bloke back in third only got £1. Then beaten 6.5 lengths. I'd put him in the notebook. I thought he was given a really quiet ride. Like wasn't really pushed along at all. And then just on final orders, geez, Gavin Cromwell does some job improving these horses. I don't know how he does it. Like, I suppose this one actually came from another yard. Came from Garvin Donnelly. So like, it's not as if it was just like Florin Porter.
Yeah.
And he was getting him beat off 95 and then came going. But this horse now has won. He's won 5 in a row. And he was just beaten a length on Chase debut. So he's had about 10 starts now for Gavin Cromwell, and he's gone from, he was a 95 hurdler, like, and he's now a 149 chaser. So it's a fair improvement. And like, you'd be thinking that's where it stops for him, though. I don't know. Could
one more win and he's a graded horse.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I don't know, could I see him going in again though? Like, I think he's sort of nearly 149. He could be sort of all out of that now.
Okay, okay. I think he could I think he could have more under the tank, I reckon, under the bonnet even. Finally, then on the Saturday, a Dream to Share for John Kiley won the bumper, 12 to 1. He was running last summer in bumpers. Factor File was second for Willie Mullins, and a very highly regarded Emmett Mullins horse was third. So like that form, the right horse is finished in the right places behind him, and that could be very, very good form. And he goes to Cheltenham now, I believe. And we had that mare over in England bet there today, didn't we?
We did, yeah. Or yesterday, Queen's Gamble. She got turned over in Market Race, and like, I suppose it wasn't ideal. Like, I wouldn't be writing her off completely still, but this yoke, like, he gave £3 to Factor File, gave 7 to Emmett's horse, and trounced them. Now, I will say there was an enormous pace collapse in the bumper, but still, like, he's came home very strongly, and he's hosed up. I'd say there'll be a number of large offers going into the Gleasons for that horse. after what he's done there. Like racing post rating of 140, that's fairly outrageous too. Like that's very high for this race. I might just look up Facile Vega last year.
Yeah.
Bear with me now. But yeah, I thought I saw the rating of the race. I thought that was very high. Like, yeah, Facile Vega got 136 last year.
Oh,
so he obviously carried 3 pounds more. So that brings, so it's very impressive what he's done. And Facile Vega's other wins were both 141 at Cheltenham and at Punchestown. They were both grade 1s, and this was a grade 2, so it'd be rated slightly lower as well. But yeah, a dream to share. He hosed up there. It was a savage performance, and you'd love to see the Gleasons now go to Cheltenham with that joke and take the bumper.
That'd be great. It'd be great. You know, again, just a new man there.
Yeah.
You know, like Barry winning the Supreme and the Ballymore. It'd be great to see John Kiley go and win the bumper for the Gleasons.
It's Honeysuckle and Rachel Blackmore, racing's golden duo!
Tiger Roll joins the greats and beats Magic of Light.
That brings us on to day 2 then. Start off with the Mirrors Handicap. It probably doesn't need too much to be said about it. Ballybon Belter won it for Liz Doyle. JP Horse, Bantown Girl, who I really liked. I put her up here on the podcast last week. She ran well. She finished third at 12-1. She was third in it last year off the same mark. Similar level of form there, but you know, each way money came in anyway.
Yeah, it did. My selection, Ryoga Choice, unseated. So she got brought down by a fall at risk bell. Geez, poor Mark Walsh. She was only just back from injury. He got a fair slap there on that. It looked fairly bad. Yeah. So hopefully he gets back soon enough. But that's all to say about it really. I don't think Ballybron Belter won off 106. She's not going to win the Mayor's Novice Hurdle, you know.
No, she's not in a fit. Brings on to the Grade 1 Novice Chase then. Now I don't know, are you going to start with Mighty Potter, or are you going to start with the horse that came second? Because I'm sick of listening to you going on about adamantly chosen all year. And now we ran a fair race at 40-1 to finish second. But I'm sick of hearing about him. Mighty Potter was so impressive then, like, you know, superb, great round of jumping. Again, what he did after the way he took off, you know, he looks a proper chaser. You know, and he's going to take serious stopping in March. Gaillard de Menil just not good enough, particularly over that trip anyway. You know, and the final one, James de Burley, very poor. You know, he'll go up to 3 miles now, but whether he's got it in him, you know, to go in RSA is very doubtful, the way that he fell away.
Yeah, it was I'd say it was performance of the weekend from Mighty Potter. I thought it was absolutely outrageous. Like he could have won by a lot further as well if he wanted to. I don't think he was fully out there. Like it was unbelievable, and I'd say the best is yet to come from him. Wait till he's stepped up to 3 miles, how good he's going to be. Because he could win the Gold Cup next year. He's an absolutely outrageous horse. He's serious bit of stuff. And
not sure about that.
Yeah, you'll see when he wins. He'll win over 3 miles at Punchestown at the end of the year. There won't be anything to beat him there on that kind of ground. And he'll be trained as a Gold Cup horse next year, and I'd say he could go very close. Like he's only a 6-year-old as well. He's a serious bit of stuff. Yeah, adamantly chosen. I actually backed the forecast on Sunday 28-1. So a couple of quid on that. I was doing more shouting for Brian Hayes than Davy Russell when they jumped the last, trying to make sure he got him up. But yeah, adamantly chosen. The horse I really like. He's a savage jumper, and he like 149. He's after getting another 3 pounds. Like probably rule him out of going to a handicap now at Cheltenham. Like he'd be off 155. So I don't think they'll go down that road. I'd say they'll just go to the Turners and try and come home second there nearly, because he'll be another one of Willie's in the Turners. Actually, I forgot to mention him earlier. But yeah, it was a savage performance. I'd say performance the weekend.
Yeah. And then another savage performance, and a horse that I really liked at the start of the year and disappointed me time and time again, really, this year. Gentleman de Me finally came of age this season. You know, he's 9-1 now for the Champion Chase. He put in a great performance at the weekend. I'm not sure where the improvement came from. You know, when you look at his form this year, I think it says on the Racing Post they're putting it down to an improvement in the ground. Spring ground, but I don't know, he's running on similar enough ground all year, I think. But like 9-1 for the Champion Chase now. You know, he bet Edward Stone last year by 4 lengths. He's got to be a bet.
Not for me anyway. I wouldn't back him, even though I did say after the Tingle Creek he probably is a spring horse. Like that it took him a while to get going last year, and like his best performance obviously was at Aintree. Like he's going to go to the Champion Chase now anyway, but like you'd much prefer if you were, I don't know, I probably wouldn't go to Cheltenham. I might just go to Aintree like with him, try and win a grade 1 there. But yeah, Blue Lord, massively disappointing. Just didn't look at any stage to be going well at all. But yeah, I think that's his level. Like he can beat Score Royale 3 lengths or 4 lengths and beat Dunvegan, but when you put a good horse up against him, he struggles a bit.
Will he go up to the Ryanair, do you reckon?
It's hard to know. It depends if Allaho's alive or not.
Allaho seems to be alive and well.
Yeah, they're showing videos. Like, who knows when those videos were taken? Like, Willie's a master. No, Allaho does seem fine, but like if Allaho doesn't go, they probably will put him up in trip. Because you have an Ergamine already for the Champion Chase, and this lad seem to both have better chances now than Blue Lord. So Blue Lord might be just shoved up in trip by default.
Okay, yeah, I reckon so. I don't think there's any point in going to a Champion Chase with him. And now he'll go and win now, and you'll just clip out this bit. The next race, Killian, tell me, did you or did you not? Because I'm not actually sure. I know you said it to me in private. Did you or did you not mention Gal Morgan Duke at 66-1 on this podcast?
I think I did. I can't remember. I should have checked.
You can't remember
beforehand.
Okay.
I'm 90% sure I did.
Okay. Okay.
Jesus, like nearly.
Second.
Yeah, second. Yeah, it was some performance. He was whatever price you wanted on the exchange, and the win bet it's 140-1 or something. So I had a couple of quid on that, and I had a nice bet at 66s then as well. There was a video, a horse race in Ireland put it up on TikTok of Natalie Gilligan, the owner of the horse, Paul's wife, in the parade ring screaming for the horse. If they had a similar camera on me, I'd have done similar screaming in the stands. Yeah, I thought he had it. Looked to be going really well coming around the turn. Jumped the last well, was still probably a length or 2 up, and the goffer just ran him down. Sort of the younger horse there, 6-year-old on the improve. Like he's Kem and he's beaten him. But look, it was a fair run. Now I made a few quid anyway on the place betting as well, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, he ran some race, like, and geez, he hadn't announced a form in the last 3 years since he won the race, and that's just the way Gilligan works, I suppose.
Yeah. It was a great shout, to be fair by you. If you said it on this, that is no good saying it to me off camera.
I think I did.
We love everything about this reaction.
Estate Man, will he beat Constitution Hill? How impressed were you?
I was very impressed. He's a serious animal.
Yeah,
like it was he could have won by further. Like, you know, I thought he was just to make your own running as well there, like against the likes of Honeysuckle, like she's not the horse she was, but look, she's still a fair detail, like, and like he's hosed up really there, like Vauban is further away, he's getting from him, like I don't know, like if you try and rate the race, like it's not as strong ratings wise as what Constitution Hill has done this year, but like it's not, the horse racing isn't done on ratings, as we know, like but yeah, 100 to 30 versus a 1 to 3 shot, I'd probably have a few quid on Stateman and shout him home instead. I don't know, it's a fair uphill task to beat Constitution Hill.
It is, but 130 is probably value. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
It is, like, but like both of them are like, they're extremely impressive this season. Constitution Hill obviously does have the higher ratings, looks like an absolute machine, but like this Stateman is a proper test for him, and it's not a test that he will have had before, like, you know, so I don't know, I think at 130, I think it's a value bet. He won't be 130 on the day, because just like you'll have lads who are saying, oh, we may as well back Statement, sure, he looks good too, you know, at the prices, and that he won't go off, he'll go off 2 to 1, I reckon.
Yeah, he probably will go off a bit shorter. Like, interestingly, like the ratings wise, Christmas Run was rated £7 higher. The Morgiana was rated £4 higher on Racing Post ratings. So like it did show that like he wasn't at his complete peak there, and like he wasn't ridden out either. Like, so like he was basically untouched the whole entire way. He got a couple of slaps, that was it. And he's hosed up, like, yeah, I'd have a few quid in him at 130. Then Honeysuckle, like, look, it was she the money came late on, like she was 2 to 1 there, 20 minutes before the went off 11 to 8. Like, people really wanted to see her win, and like she got a bigger reception into the ring than Stateman did. It was much like the Hatton's Grace, but just a bigger crowd. Like, the winner wasn't really shouted in like or anything, bar the winning connections. So like, look, it was a poor showing from her. 146 Racing Post rating, that's her lowest in years. And to come back here, the lowest since she won the Grade 1 for Mayors in 2019 in Fairyhouse, like that was 144. So like that was her worst run since, by all accounts. And like she still came second in a Grade 1, you know. I'd like to see her run the Champion Hurdle. Like, I don't think winning the Mayor's Hurdle is going to do anything for Honeysuckle's legacy at this stage. She's a dual champion hurdler. She's a 3-time Hatton Grace winner, 3-time Irish Champion Hurdle winner. She has 2 Mayor's Hurdles, which I don't think should be Grade 1s. If she has 2 Mayor's Hurdles, like, compare that to the other races she's won. What about it? Like, I'd much rather see her go and defend her crown. And look, if she comes third, if she comes fourth, that's fine. Like, Hurricane Fly won 2 champion hurdles. He went back and basically an impossible task behind Faheen and got well beaten third. And that's not like Hurricane Fly. Obviously, there was no Mayor's race for him to go to, like, but you know, he went back. He went back, like, and he was a champion. He went back to the race. That'd be my take on it.
I get. Yeah, I fully get what you're saying. You know, like, and if she doesn't win the Mayor's Hurdle, that's a bit of a dunt. You know, whereas if she comes third in the Champion Hurdle, you know, that's still a very respectable run, and she's going out there fighting. You know, if she goes out and she comes third in a Mayor's Hurdle, like, you know, she's nearly going out. She's getting shot in the back when she's running away, like, you know. But look, they're going where they've got the best chance of winning. And she probably should win it. I was in the Epitaph camp all year, but I'd never thought that we'd see Honeysuckle here in the Mayor's Hurdle. You know, so you'd expect to see her go and win that, and hopefully she does. You know, hopefully she does. Look, that brings us on then to the.
Sorry, just to cut across you there. Like, I do hope she wins, and I will be shouting her on in the day. But I just think that going to this race, it's going to be used as a stick to beat her down the line by lads, people, mouthpieces like Matt Chapman. People like him are going to use her not running the champion hurdle and defending her crown as a stick to beat her. That, look, she's won it twice, and just because she's suffered a couple of defeats, one defeat over the distance even, like, and one defeat up and trip, they're running away from this race. And that's what people are going to say. And I don't think, I just think it's she doesn't deserve that, like, after what she's done over the last number of years. And that's why I'd run the champion hurdle. And, like, look, it's horse racing too. Like, anything could happen. Like, look, it's with nearly the completely outside the realms of possibility that she reverses with State Man and be Constitution Hill. But, like, Constitution Hill could fall at the first hurdle and bring down State Man, you know. And then she's there waiting in the stable for the mare's race, and fucking, I don't know, some yoke Pied Piper goes out and wins the champion hurdle.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know.
I fully agree. I fully agree. You should never be afraid of one horse. Never. I'd be a firm believer in that line. But when there's two of them there, I can understand what they're doing. It's probably not what I do, but I can understand it. And if she goes and she wins it, it's not a bad way to go out either. You know, look, we'll move on from there anyway. The next race, what a weird race it was. The Grade 1 Novice Hurdle. Illet Toms won Facile Vega, 4th or 5th. They went far too quick. You know, it's an impossible race to figure out, really, I feel, Alia.
I don't know. Yeah, they did go too quick. That's the first thing. But I don't like Facile Vega. I never did, really.
No.
Like, I was sort of hoping he'd win this and I'd be able to take him on nicely then in the Supreme. I don't know, like, he's completely stopped. Pity High Definition fell. That's the only thing. We'd know a lot more if he didn't fall. Like, if he stood up and let's say he comes third, beaten 10 lengths by Ella Tomp, and Facile Vega is another 10 back, you can call Facile Vega a complete bust flush, write him off. He's finished as a horse. I'd say he could be finished as a horse. And, like, Johnny Deneen, I saw, said he'd never back him again. I would never back him again either. Like, really, I think he's a mudlark, that he just needs it soft. And
you reckon?
Potentially, yeah. Like, and you look at his form last year, like, he won a shocking champion bumper. In hindsight, maybe American Mike could come out and frank the form. It was a shocking bumper. Redemption Day nearly beat him on better ground. We don't know how good Redemption Day is, in fairness. He hasn't ran this season, but Redemption Day should have bet him, really, like, in Punchestown. So I don't know. I just think I'd say he's busted flush. If he runs in Cheltenham at all, I'd say he'd go to the Ballymore. I just don't, like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, if I was Paul Townend, I'd run to ride.
Okay, well, look, I'll jump across you here because Gaelic Warrior in the next race, and again, it's very hard to know where he's going. Is he going Supreme, Ballymore? We may as well include him in this conversation because he was very impressive.
He was.
Where does he go? Because they're interlinked.
He was, yeah. He still jumps to his right, but yeah, like, you go by what Willie and Ruby have said down the years. You need sort of a stayer to win the Supreme, and you can use a speed horse in the Ballymore. If I was Willie, Illa Tomps is definitely going to the Supreme.
Yeah.
The horse that came third, Dark Raven, has only had 2 runs. So if he goes to Cheltenham, he'll be going to the Supreme because he won't have enough runs to go in the handicap. So that's the first 2. Then, like, I'd probably run Gaelic Warrior in the Supreme.
Would you?
And go pretty close to the front, and I'd have him pretty handy, and just try and make it a bit of a stamina test. I'd say he stays further than 2 miles in Grade 1 company. Like, he hosed up there the last day, even without jumping well. So I'd probably go to Supreme with him. I'd run Facile Vega in the Ballymore. Potentially put impair a pass up and trip as well then.
Yeah.
I don't know, he has so many fucking horses. It must be a nightmare trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it
but
must.
like, yeah, Facile
But
Vegas,
like, yeah,
bust, I'd say.
when you look at it, like we're talking about the Supreme and the Ballymore there, it's amazing what the Dublin Racing Festival has done. Like, you know, just the way it's blown open these races, blown open the Champion Chase, the Juvenile Hurdle Division, you know, the Arkle as well. You know, it really, some years now it could swing the other way. But this year, it's definitely given us more questions than answers, which is definitely what you want going into Cheltenham. The final race then, again, fun, was very impressive. The Champion Bumper doesn't look great this year, and that horse is 4-1 now for the Bumper. I don't know if you have any strong opinions on fun, or will we wrap it up?
She can get 8-1 on her Ladbrokes and Coral.
Okay,
no,
right.
I don't.
I think I took the price from Paddy Power.
Yeah, she hosed up anyway, but like, I don't know, like she looks a fair detail. Maybe she might wait for entry. I don't know. Like, she's Patrick bred her himself. It's so like she won by 10 lengths up in Sligo, and he sold her for a nice touch. Then I'd say to the double green. And she's proven she's well good enough to contest graded races so far anyway. Yeah, I don't know, they might wait till entry with her. Like, has Willie anything else really for the Bumper though? It's for me, for the same connections, his favorite.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like,
he's got that Rich Ritchie horse as well.
Yeah,
but that's probably all talk.
it could be. Yeah, I'd say she probably won't go if It's For Me is running as well. I doubt they'll run 2 in it. They might just say we'll wait for the Mayor's Bumper in entry with fun. So she'd hack up in that, really, wouldn't she? Like, especially if Queen's Gamble goes to Cheltenham, like they're saying she's going to, then she'll be coming, probably having to have a hard race in Cheltenham if she goes to entry then. So they might just wait with fun.
Yeah,
it's a terrible name though.
Sorry,
Terrible name for a horse.
For a terrible name, yeah. Terrible.
I was thinking, like, what was Patrick thinking? Like,
yeah, I have no idea. Fun. Anyway, look, 2 other horses, I suppose, Irish horses who were running in England over the weekend. The first, Jerry Colombe, now 5-2 for the Brown Advisory. He just keeps on winning. Over a trip that's too short for him. You know, he just keeps on doing enough. Now, people talking about the 4-miler before that race, it got what they deserved. You know, like, what an insult to that horse to be talking about sending him to the 4-miler when he's now when he had won 1 Grade 1, now he's won a 2nd Grade 1. You know, like, he has to be RSA bound for me. And secondly, then the Boss's Oscar finished 3rd there in a Pertemps qualifier. He's rated 142, and he was 3rd in the Coral Cup off 154 before.
3rd in the Pertemps.
Sorry?
3rd in the Pertemps.
3rd in the Coral Cup, I believe, no?
No, Pertemps. Jordan Gainsford rode him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Memories leaving me down there. 3rd in the Pertemps off 154, so he has to be trunning now at this stage too.
Yeah, he's very regressive. He was very regressive there for a while. Like, he's still only an 8-year-old though. Yeah, I remember I was all over him for the Pertemps that year after he ran in Leopardstown. He was he 2nd in the Pertemps qualifier at Leopardstown. They backed him at 8 or 9-1 for the Pertemps, and then up comes Mrs. Milliner and goes and beats him. Yeah, 1-5-1 that day. Gainford took off 7. He's 1-4-2. Like, Corey McGivern rode him the last day. Would he ride him in the Pertemps? Rob James rode him in the Coral Cup last year. So maybe Rob James might ride him in the Pertemps to take off 7. You'd imagine he'd get 3 or 4 pounds anyway. So 145, he could be off 138 versus 144 last time. Like, so he's probably 5 or 6 pound swing anyway. So look, he's he's interesting one, coming back to a small bit of form. He won in Limerick in July, and then bombed out in Cork and had a break since then. So be an interesting one now. Like, got a good rating as well, 145. So yeah, you'd be interested to see what they do with him. There, and then just on Jerry Colombe, while we have him, yeah, I'd say I was over the wrong Rob Core horse, I'd say, for the RSA. Jerry Colombe looks a serious animal, like to as you said there, to do that what he did over a trip that's definitely too short for him. Is
ground that's
fairly outrageous,
and not ideal ground
yeah. That ground was drying out, so look, he's 3-1 favorite there. Like, the real whacker is still lugging around there at 6-1. Time Hill 6-1. Sir Gerard 7-1. Like, you'd be very disappointed if he didn't beat the real whacker in Time Hill. Sir Gerard won't be there. Gaia de Menil, probably, if he runs, it doesn't make a difference. He won't win it. And like, Gentleman's Game is still a 20-1 shot. Mouse has said he might be at risk of not making it if he doesn't run. He wasn't interested in the 10 up in Navan as well. No. So I don't know, are they running out races for him to run before that? Would Mouse go with one run? Probably not. I think he said he wouldn't. So
no,
that's sort of where that one is like. But yeah, Jerry is he'd be one of my sort of big ones now, this far out. I'd say one of the, I won't call them certainties, but because they never are, but he'd be one of my main picks now at this stage, I'd say.
Right, and then just very briefly looking forward to this weekend, Navan is where the main racing comes from. We've obviously got the 10 up there. It's a nice race, but I suppose the one that's really standing out is the Boyne Hurdle and Blazing Cal. There's 3 from 3 over hurdles for Charles Burns, coming back after about a little over a year off track, I believe, from memory, and he could throw himself right into the Stairs hurdle picture, with a win here at the weekend.
Yeah, the Boyne Hurdle, just a 2.5 or 2 mile 5 in Navan. Yeah, geez, it'd be nice to see him just hose up, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And it make the stairs a real race again. I know a lot of people really like the horse. Like, he gets £4 from Sire de Burley, has to give 2 to Highland Charge and 5 to everyone else. Look, if he's fit and healthy, it shouldn't be a problem. I'd say, like, he won't be fully tuned up for this. Obviously, there'll be a bit left off him ahead of the stairs, but this is a good stepping stone, and you'd like to see him run relatively well anyway. Be hitting the frame, or at least be staying on. I suppose. I was just looking at the entries for Navan today, and the one that really took my eye out was in the first race in the maiden hurdle. So it's called Valsor Preza. So owned by Philip Reynolds, trained by Gordon Elliott, a 5-year-old. I was just looking at, saw Sire Sir Percy Dam presenting us. That's an interesting cross. Clicked into the dam. It's presenting Percy's dam. A full brother has arrived. A full brother.
What a day! What a day!
A 5-year-old. Oh, it's going to be someday. I really hope
the main event on Sunday.
Yeah, I'd nearly go.
You should.
But I will say one thing: it is outrageous that horse didn't go to Pat Kelly. Pat Kelly really should have got the horse, but look, that's probably an argument for another day.
Don't be opening up that kind of worms now.
I was very, very happy when I saw it. I was like, this is great now. So hopefully
it is very exciting.
It is, yeah.
Just for people who, obviously, a lot of people wouldn't know, myself and Killian, a long time, we were huge Presenting Percy fans. Actually, the first time that we met, just off the fact that we both loved Presenting Percy. It was Dublin Racing Festival, was it 3 years ago?
2019.
2019, yeah, 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Long time ago, yeah. So it'll be a huge day now on Sunday to see his full brother in the same colours.
The famous colours.
The famous colours, yeah. The famous colours.
I actually have a Presenting Percy scarf here.
Do you? Show us.
So there we are.
Good man. I have a mug out in the kitchen, but I won't get that. Leave the lads go.
Yeah, I have a mug downstairs as well. I won't bother people with that, yeah. But the 10 up is on in Navan as well on Sunday. I'd say Mallow Mission is the only one with real Cheltenham prospects there. He's gonna run in that. I wouldn't mind the rest of them really. He'd probably go to the 4 miler. Yeah.
Right, okay, that's us. It's all roads to Cheltenham now at this stage. Anything we talk about is going to be Cheltenham related. Pretty much. I don't think we're deviating from that, Killian, are we?
No, we're not. And we actually have the Rein It In podcast. They're another very good racing podcast. If you want to give them a look, they're on SoundCloud. They're going to be coming on later on this week for a preview of the Cheltenham Novice Hurdlers. So we'll do the Supreme, Ballymore, Bartlett, and the Triumph Hurdle as well. We'll just throw that one into it.
Okay, very good. Right, that's it from us. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy Blazing Cal, the 10 up, and most importantly, presenting Percy's full brother. Right, we'll see you next week. Good luck.
Good luck.
Error from Blackcourt as Monolly and Noel Feely have gone off. 2 fences in the home straight, Monolly leading, but look, here's presenting Percy in the green and white, confidently ridden by Davy Russell, moving into second. Blackcourt is battling on with those. They're followed by Elegant Escape. Alboom Photo against the running rail, sitting with the chance. Round the home turn, Davy Russell decides to send presenting Percy on now. He takes it up as he approaches the second last. Goodly Beaufort, Monolly in second. Alboom Photo fell at the second last. Blackcourt was left in third, then Elegant Escape. Presenting Percy at the last, up and over safely, lands 6 or 7 lengths clear to Monolly. Elegant Escape and behind this Blackcourt, but as they head towards the line, this was a great confident ride by Davy Russell on presenting Percy. He produced it round the home turn, and he's gone on to win by 5 or 6 lengths in good style. Monolly